Sorry about that. Okay. So again, back to engaging when you can win the ball. So we've got to make decisions on how close the defender is. So what are some other decisions? What are some other things that go into our decision about whether we go in and try to win the ball as opposed to pressuring or redirecting the opponent? What are some things we have to think about?
If you have like a cover player behind you, because if you go into the ball and you get beat and no one's behind you, they go straight to goal and they can take a shot on Charlotte.
Excellent. So if you don't have a cover player, or again, scanning around you, am I the last defender? Because if I get beat and I'm the last defender, then they're taking a run at our goalkeeper. Anything else?
Well,
How
like,
about go ahead? Yep.
like if the team isn't ready to defend because they're all like coming back and they need to get set and mark players, then it's better to delay so that everyone can get ready to mark their players.
Excellent. Excellent. Right. So if the team hasn't recovered back into the block yet, wherever the block's going to be behind the ball, and there's a bunch of players in front of the ball, even with a cover player, we might decide, hey, I need the delay right now and let some more people get back. When would we prefer, or what part of the field would we prefer to delay in as opposed to going in and trying to win the ball right away?
Defending third.
So which choice will we make in the defending third? Usually.
Delay.
You're right. Yeah, in general, we want to try to delay in the defending third unless the block is super tight. Right? We'll just let them come, let them try to move the ball around, try to block, make them go somewhere else. If we're higher up on the field and if we win the ball, we could take a chance at goal, then we can accept more risk up there. Okay. So let's look at a couple of moments when about engaging the ball. Here's the first one. Here she comes. Okay. So she's coming pretty fast. Pretty fast. Right. We don't really have a cover player. We've got a center back recovering. She does take a pretty heavy touch here. But, the speed that she's coming with combined with our speed to get to her might have put us in a poor position there. And she'll just keep going. Okay, so in that one, so put yourself in that moment. What are some other things that defender can do?
He should have been a couple feet away from her so she could delay more easily.
Okay.
I think that, in the moment, I know it's really hard to kind of think this way, but the body positioning is kind of hard because she's standing at an angle, which is good, but she's kind of like too close to the ball. So
Okay.
popping up a little bit.
She could come a little bit more, I guess, side on and try and force the defender a little bit more wide and delay a little bit more, kind of like what they said.
Right. Those are all great points. How about running backwards? If she was to start running backwards, let's say can y'all see my cursor here?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we see this player and she's coming with a lot of speed right here. We could, instead of moving to meet her, we can let her come to us and start moving backwards when we're right about here. And that way we just kind of let her close the distance. But as we're coming backwards, now she's moving to us a little bit more slowly instead of coming in one way really fast and then trying to change directions and reaccelerate backwards. Go ahead and start moving backwards, right? Get to an inside position and start tracking backwards, right? Shuffling backwards, turning backwards, and let her keep running at it. And that way you're matching her speed as she's running instead of trying to go forward and then all of a sudden trying to run back. Watch professional center backs do this. Okay. I'd offer to you the best way to see this happen is watch professional matches. Watch what happens when players start running at center backs. They don't immediately go to the player. They'll get into a good side on position and they'll start backing up and just let that distance close as they're backing up until she can get into a position to actually engage the ball. Okay, so again, another one that was same kind of moment over here, right? Cover player's not close. This one's kind of a different call. She's the outside back, and our back line still looks pretty good, but there is a bit of a gap right here between the lines, so there are a lot of attacking players who can get in there. So that one, yeah, maybe. Okay, so see, we're facing forward, but we're moving forward, and she's coming at us the other way. And second defender, same thing. We're moving against her run, and that one ended up being a goal. All right, so you see in that last one, that example of if we can start moving in the same direction that attacker is coming and match her speed, eventually she's going to have to run into us, and we don't have to change direction to do it. We just let her get closer, closer, closer until we can stop the ball. But we definitely don't want to be running at something that's running at us, because you're gonna lose that one every time. Okay, so what's the difficulty here? So this is a great recovery line, right? I mean, everyone's recovering nicely here, but what's missing?
3 players are on the same line.
And there's nobody actually pressing the ball.
Yes, there you go. Was that you, Stell?
Yeah.
There's no one pressing the ball. So we're doing a great job of covering the outside player and recovering toward goal to help the center back, but nobody checked out of the line and stepped to this player to slow her down. We just kept running. So someone's got to get over here and kind of solve this problem, because here's Poppy here just hauling it, trying to get back. We got another player, it's Leah here, trying to get back. Someone has to step, right? We got 4 players here. So eventually, yes, see, too much time on the ball. That could have been super dangerous. All right, so here's another one. So this one's a little closer in front of goal, right? They get the ball across. We've got center back here. We got a center back forward where our line isn't super great right now. We're compact in depth, right? Our 9 is in the attacking third, so we look pretty good up and down. How do we look left and right though? Anybody? Oh, good. Whoever had their hand up. Oh, was that me with my hand up? Well, I got the answer. Of course I do. How do we look in width right now?
We were too wide. We should have been more compact and like closer to the box.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I also think that like a lot of people were in the box, but we were kind of just watching the player in a way, kind of just like expecting someone else to go to the ball, or like, I guess we weren't thinking like, oh, we're the closest player to the ball, someone else is.
Right. So the closest player to the ball is our center back, who comes in hard here. All right, so we got 2 players right there trying to sort this out, and she's getting ready to tee off a shot here. So what do we think of that particular piece of defending right there? What do we think? Watch it again. So let's see a show of hands. Who thought that was a decent job? Anybody? Okay. What could have been done differently or better there? Go ahead, Maya.
I think that it was just like a little bit like desperate. Like we just kind of like, just like one person just like ran in and kind of took the ball. I think we should have maybe like stayed a little bit more composed and like not dribbled back towards the goal.
Okay. So a couple things to think about in this moment. This is a tough moment, right? There's not a lot of time for figuring stuff out, you know. So we definitely have to step to the ball. So let me get back to right about here. All right, we definitely have to step to the ball. So there's some things to consider in these moments. The first is stay in front of the ball. Don't, figure out where the shot's going, and you got to get your body in front of that. If it deflects off you, so be it. You have to go for the block. Has anybody heard the saying, defenders, you can let the player get by you, you can let the ball get by you, but you can't let both get by you? Has anybody ever heard that? Yeah.
I did.
Yep. So I think in this moment, it's pretty decent that I think that's Lily, got herself into a position where that player had to run into her after the shot or after her touch. And so the ball got by her, but the player didn't. So if she had taken a touch, and gotten around her at that point, we'd have been in a lot more trouble. A third thing to consider has to do with the goalkeeper. So Charlotte, talk about what that looks like from your perspective.
It kind of looks like dangerous because if they get by kind of if they make one dribble, they kind of get by everybody, and so it looks really dangerous, at least from my perspective.
Okay. If that player was to reduce the amount of goal you had to cover, which way would you want her to be with respect to the ball?
Probably go out wider because then I can cover more of the goal easier.
Okay. Does everybody understand what Charlotte's talking about there? So again, this is like last desperate minute stuff. But if you've got a player that's closing in on the goal and it's just you and the goalkeeper, think about how you can make the amount of goal that Charlotte has to cover smaller so that she can stay in one place and doesn't have to cover the whole 24 feet, right? It is 24 feet, by the way. It's a long way. So if that player, committed to, say, the left side as she's looking at it right here, right? Not only are we putting that player on her non-shooting foot, but we're also only showing her like this part of the goal. So maybe that makes it a little more difficult as opposed to playing on the right side. So now this is the shooting foot of the opponent, and she gets to see more of the goal. Everybody follow? Okay, so again, that's last minute stuff. Difficult to think of in the moment, but you got to stay, mentally composed and think about like what can I do to help, behind me to reduce the amount of space that the attacker has to work with when she's coming at goal. Okay, so those are all engage moments. All right, and so last thing, let's talk about finishing the attack. Okay, here we go. All right, so our 9 is on the line. She beat her defender, and now she is about to take a touch into the penalty area from the far side. Coach, these lines must have been really hectic to follow on this field. These big white.
Took a minute.
Yeah, I every time I was looking at it.
Yeah, because and they've even had an instance where the other keeper was way out of the box and was just like, "Oh, I'm out of the box." Very honest.
Yeah, yeah. The penalty area is kind of hard. The top of the penalty area is kind of hard to see here.
Yeah, it was a faint yellow line.
I don't see it.
So
was,
if
it was also the goal box that was faint.
yeah, yeah. So if you look at where everyone is at this moment, are we anticipating our attacker, our teammate, beating this player and unmarking ourselves so that she can find one of us on the way to goal? So here's a 3v1 right here we're standing in the middle of. There's a 1v1 here. There's a 1v1 here. And maybe a 1v1 here if we don't accelerate quickly away. If we coast in from a position like this high position, then that defender is just going to be right there with us, as opposed to a quick sprint to unmark ourselves from her. Ding, 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 ding. A whole lot of bumping around there. Okay. All right, next one. Okay, so once again, ball coming across the center. We're kind of behind where she's at. You know, the line's not bad, right? So in depth, you know, we're as far as we can go. We're against the offside line. We've got space to run into. But what we haven't done is get out of our channels, right? So here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3, right? And these defenders are just sitting in our channels and we're not able to get away from them because we're just running straight into the area instead of running diagonally into the area and making it more difficult for the defenders to make decisions on which one of us they're going to try to mark. And then we got a trail player, which we didn't really see, which perhaps could have gotten brought into that. Okay. That's a good take on that one, right? We see an opportunity, we can't go forward, so we go to goal. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, again, almost the same thing now, right? We broke the line. We're about to gain some space here on the end line, but we're right here on the same line as these defenders. So now she's either got to put the ball over 3 players to get to us. And we don't quite have an angle to get these 2 players. And we're also kind of stacked up, right? You see how these 2 players are like right in the same line. We're right behind each other. So there's space here we could be. There's space right here we could be. We got a player here. Maybe we could even trail really far off right here. Maybe take a defender with us. But we're too easy to defend right here. We're also a little close to goal. So let me run that back just for a sec.
The other thing, while coach is running that one back, this reminds me of a couple training sessions that we had earlier in the fall. When we get to the end line, instead of going across the goal, we can also pull it back and make that diagonal right into that space.
Yeah, right into where these players
those 2
are
players who should be crashing the net, because we know that Abigail is probably going to be 1, maybe 2 players, maybe even 3 players. We need to anticipate and expect her because we know she's really good on the ball. Let's get into those spaces. And then Abigail, you can think about, instead of putting it across the face of the goal, maybe pulling back a diagonal ball.
Yeah, going right
as
here.
coach is showing with his pointer.
Yeah, so we're just a touch deep right here into the 6. So the fact that this ball went through is a pretty good layoff, right? But it's still a very tight space for us to work in. You know, the goalkeeper really did you a favor by coming so far off on her post right there. And all these defenders. You know, there was really nobody on the back post.
Very close. You gotta like throw your body down there.
Yeah, it's the stuff of nightmares there, right?
Well, I didn't know if I was gonna like slide all the way to the goal. I was kind of
Sometimes you just get wrong.
Okay, so this is a free kick. I think we're attacking this way. So this is second half. So let me ask, what might those two players that are highlighted be doing?
Support if there's no options available.
Yeah. How many players should be in that spot, you think?
I feel like it should just be
One.
one player. Yeah,
Okay, one.
yeah.
Where could that other player be?
Up
They
could-
high and wide. Up high and wide, kind of.
Right, high and wide, maybe down like here it. Oops. Hang on. Maybe here-ish. Right, because if we wanted, we could play this way real quick. Because look how many players just in this view, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. More than half their team is in this space right here. So perhaps we could show, our formation like we're going here. But if these two players could get here and here, we could very quickly pass twice and get right here in front of goal. So again, it's a free kick, right? So we got to really think for a second, like, yeah, it's a free kick and it's direct, but what are we really going to do from there? How far are we really going to hit that ball? And if we do win the ball in that tight area, what are we going to do? So we can make decisions on changing the point of attack on set pieces too. If we're looking and it all just looks like, okay, there's 6 of them and 6 of us, and we're just going to throw the ball in there and hope for the best. Hope's not really a good method, right? Maybe we can tell the center backs, hey, widen out, man, go that way. And let me run back just for 1 sec. And so let me ask you, if these two players started, or as before this kick was taken, if these two players did slide over here and over here, what would the defenders do?
It would like stretch them out kind of because they'd have to like mark more people farther.
Yeah, they probably start sliding over and maybe open up some space over here so that we can win the ball a little more easily. Take some of these players out of this space and drag them over this way, so we can get more out of that kick. Again, just moments when you got to think, like, how can I contribute to the attack? Okay. So we've got a run going up the left side. We've got a supporting player. A little bit of a gap here between the wide players and the middle players, but I think I'm okay with it. Because we've got 3 going to the box. We've got 1 in the box. We could always use maybe a wide player back here, but it's coming. But what's the matchup right here?
3v1, kind of, or 2v1.
Yeah, if you include Stella and is this Mary maybe? So Stella and Mary, how many players are they attacking against right there?
3, I think.
3. Yeah, there's 3 players there. 1, 2, 3. I think it might even be 4. Yeah, it's 3. 3 players. 1, 2, 3. So what can we do to help them get out of there?
It looks like some of the defenders in front of the goal are stepping to the ball, and then I can't really tell who that is, but I think it's like the people more central can drop in and cover for them.
Here. Yeah. So we could probably use a player like right here, right? Just a little bit of a connection. So if Abby, I think this is you, right? if you could just like slide back just a tiny bit right here. Real subtle and sneaky like, right? And give us another way out of here. Because then you've got space to attack, and if you end up with the ball there, then this angle right here back to where you came looks really good. Right? You could go right back to Lena and Lisette attacking into that space. So it's not that far, really. Maybe 5 yards, 7, 8 yards. Just slide over this way. Let Mary know you're there, and then we could go. We can come out this way. I think I'm drawing here. Let's do. Yeah, we go here, and then we go there, and just kind of go around all of this. Okay. So just another option. Again, we got to scan. We got to know where everybody's at. Think about the easiest way to get through what we're trying to get through. Okay. Poppy plays a pretty good ball, so she sees this play right here. Right, we see it right there. So she's looking here. She sees Talia. That the pass isn't bad. It's a little bit of weight on it. She's having, she has a bit of a time trying to bring that down. So if we can hit that one on the floor, Talia can handle that a little bit better. What's kind of missing right here, though? If she won this ball, what's missing?
I think maybe like a wide player on the left or on the right, either.
Yeah. So like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like
Yeah.
players that all in front of her to play through.
Yep. Yeah, we got some decent options there. There's one, there's two. Right. So again, a slightly better pass, and then two players running in right here to hit the near post, and we could have made something a little better out of that, I think. So again, we really got to focus on that final pass. It's got to be accurate because we're in a very tight space, and we have to keep our heads. You can't lose your mind right here. Talia did as best she could to try to bring that ball down. But even in that moment, right, you've got to keep your composure. We've got to be comfortable playing in those tight spaces, right? And being able to hold the ball for long enough to find another player that's has a better chance at getting a goal. Hey, let me back that up for a second. Get that. Okay, so I didn't capture all of these moments. However, the thing we worked on during the warm-up on Friday or on Wednesday for those that were there, how did that go with the high balls?
It was harder because
It's hard because it's hard, right? It's hard. Okay, players, like you're playing with a ball that bounces. I can't emphasize enough that you need to spend some time by yourself and with your teammates, your parents, your little brother, whoever, sorting this part of your game out. It is liberating if you can do this. If you can bring the ball down and hit the ball first time on the bounce. If not, I could probably do a whole highlight reel of this match and all the times that balls bounced over people, under people, miss hit, yada, yada, yada. Okay. This is not a new thing, and you don't need to be a physics professor to figure out like where the ball is going to go. So we really, really have to get on top of this. Now, Mary, nice work here. You got this one down on the ground. and you're able to complete this pass. Whoop-a-doo right there. So that's all it takes right there. So everybody give Mary a hand. Good work. Woo. There you go. That's what it needs to look like, right? Just lots of control, lots of composure. Okay, and so now we're coming in the attack, and Pop, I'm a little unsure where this pass was going.
Well, I was trying to get it to Chloe, and then like I don't think it's okay.
That's
Yeah.
enough. Let's see if it gets.
So again, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the offside line. All right. That's the last defender right there. Poppy's already on the move, right? She's attacking into the space after the pass from Mary. So I suppose two things have to happen there. The first is Poppy, just a tiny bit more composure, right?
Yeah.
And if it's not on, just keep the ball. Just pull it back and get out of there.
Okay.
You know, we're not asking you to go to goal because you're still like 25 yards from goal here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're running into two defenders. So if it's not on, like just stop. Hold up for a second, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 2 of those 5 players ought to be running into these spaces to help you out. But if you
Okay.
get there before them, right? So all of our attacking players, Lisette, Viv, Abigail, you know, anybody else that's playing up in those spaces, right? Stella, you've got to decide, like, is it on or is it not on? Like, you know, just because you're the last one, you know, in front, you know, heading the goal, and you're staring down 3 defenders, maybe pull the ball back and wait for some help. We're only asking you to pull the ball back for like 1 or 2 seconds, right? Just pull the ball back, swing to the other side, and we do something unexpected there and try to find a better angle to goal.
Okay.
It's hard when you're going.
So again, these decisions you have to make in the moment, but if you go into that with a clear head, just try to make the best decision you can and don't be in a super big rush to get forward. I mean, we still want to move smartly, we still want to move with speed, but we don't want to get crazy and just, you know, have the thing get out of control. Oh no.
They get there.
Yeah.
I think you did. There was another one that you did like that, almost either right before or right after.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's the second one. Got across. So good shot there. So see, we're in this really tight space right there. There's a good look, right? So we pass, just Abby drops that off. We take a look. Again, like these moments right here. Gotta get control of the ball. And kind of a blind pass there. So this, I think we got just a couple more here. Just keep watching. I think that one came from the other side. Just kind of bounced over everybody. Okay. So, that's kind of it for that part. So those last 6 or 7, right? So team players, guys are doing excellent work winning the ball in the block and getting up into the attacking third. You guys were living in front of their goal for the last 20 minutes of this match. Like camped out. And their bench was freaking out, right? Because you all were just kept coming. However, we can't be too hasty and be overexcited ourselves, right? And not play good soccer in front of the goal. So we're definitely going to have to come back to these moments. Okay. And when we get into this weekend, remember this, right? Remember what your brain feels like in these moments when we're hasty and we're trying and we get a little bit desperate. I mean, we're 2 goals down here, right? So I get it. But we've got to have the professionalism to stay calm, keep each other calm, and find a way through that using combination play and each other and pass accurately. Okay, do that, and you guys will rip right through this. But it is frustrating, right, to kind of watch that, because that's kind of a roll of about the last 15 minutes of the match. We just kept rolling into the top of the area, but we couldn't quite break through. A couple of balls, those diagonal balls across. But again, they got to be a little more accurate. There's got to be a way that you can get players running in behind and just passing to them instead of whatever it is we're doing right here.
Oh, I also think that I think that this kind of shows that we have the intensity and like we can do things. And if we kind of executed that at the beginning of the game instead of trying to like catch up towards the end, we can see like a lot more like positive results. Cause like as Coach Bernie said, we are doing like a good job when like we're doing a good job of like the idea of it. It just comes down to like doing it at the right time.
Yeah, that was very well said. Okay. All right. So that's it for tonight. We got 2 matches tomorrow. I think one's like 9-ish and one's at 1-ish. Understand now, so our bracket is very small, right? So you only get 2 group matches. There's no third match. So you got to get after it right away. And you got to get 2 wins if we're going to get through to the semifinal, because the next day is either a consolation match or it's a semifinal. So there's only 2 matches for the group stage.
And then just a quick note to add on here, please come prepared with your jerseys and socks. Last weekend, we had an issue where we had to change and some players did not have the correct top. So just go after this call, double check. Our first game tomorrow, we are striped jersey, black shorts, and white socks.
Thank you. Always bring both. Okay. That's all I have for the team. I will stop recording and I will see you all tomorrow.
Dress warmly.
Yep.
Bye-bye.